Pam Bondi got her ass handed to her in court yesterday, and charges were dropped against Letitia James and James Comey in a very embarrassing ruling. Let's listen to how Pam Bondi responds.
Get your reaction to the James Comey, Letitia James cases being dropped today. Back in Washington, James Comey put out a video. He said this matters most because a message has to be sent. The President of the United States cannot use the Department of Justice to target his political enemies. Your reaction to the cases being dropped into that specific message?
Sure, we'll be taking all available legal action, including an immediate appeal to hold Letitia James and James Comey accountable for their unlawful conduct.
What's your reaction to his statement?
I'm going to keep going on this. I'm not worried about someone who has been charged with a very serious crime. His alleged actions were a betrayal of public trust.
Okay, this woman has zero credibility. She agreed to be the attorney general for a man who is a convicted felon. So you just have to start there. So the jet stream of bullshit rolls downhill from there. Subbing for PUMS today is my criminal defense attorney husband, Josh Welch. Josh, the judge dismissed with prejudice. Tell our viewer what that means.
Well, the judge actually dismissed it without prejudice. And the only reason for that is because it was dismissed on a procedural basis. So there's also the other issue with the statute of limitations and so forth. But if you want to interpret what Ms. Bondi said in that video, you could basically, from where we sit, interpret that to mean we don't have a chance in this. We're going to lose. Our ass is kicked. Let's move on. Because that's what you say. You say, well, we're going to appeal. We're going to use every breath of the law to take this appeal. And it's a very serious offense, i.e. you interpret that, we got our ass kicked.
So do you think they're not going to do anything further with this?
I think that they'll appeal it, and I think it's gone. It's clearly gone. The appointment of Ms. Halligan was clearly improper. She didn't have the authority to seek an indictment. I think all of that's crystal clear. They do have the right to appeal, but this case is over. It's done.
Okay, some more legal stuff dropping right now. Kylie put this up. Expedited Freedom of Information Act on the Epstein files. Yeah, there's a reason certain folks are sweating through their spray tan tonight in hiding. Kyle Cheney reports Judge Chutkan orders expedited processing of FOIA request for files related to DOJ's handling on the Epstein files. Josh, what does this mean?
Well, and I'm going to read just a short excerpt from the order, but it says the request for records reflecting all correspondence between Trump and Epstein is plainly tied to the concern discussed in the media that the Justice Department reversed its position on the disclosure of the documents only after Attorney General Pam Bondi reportedly informed the president that his name appears in the files.
So put that in layman's terms for us.
So the court has seen that reversal by the Attorney General's office, and based on that has found a basis to expedite this process, and is basically telling the Department of Justice, you're going to have to get these emails, you're going to have to disclose them, and you're going to have to do it promptly.
And what is that tidbit about the judge actually said Pam Bondi told the president that his name was in them?
That's right, and that provided the court the basis to issue an expedited order because the burden of proof was on the plaintiffs in this case to show that there is a compelling reason. And I think the judge is using as an example Pam Bondi's reversal on this position and how important this particular issue is to the public integrity of this office.
Okay. And then this president, every single day, you guys, he just does the most unethical, borderline illegal actions imaginable. And everything is a shakedown. Everything is a hustle to enrich himself or his friends. So put this up, Kylie. Big scoop. New lawsuit accuses Binance of knowingly enabling October 7 terror attacks. Among the 306 American plaintiffs are the families of Israeli Americans Hirsch Goldberg Poland and Italy Chen. And Trump recently pardoned this leader, CEO of Binance. Josh, what can you tell us about this?
So there was a lawsuit filed yesterday in federal court in North Dakota, and it basically accused crypto giant Binance and the former CEO, Zhao, the gentleman that received a pardon from President Trump, of knowingly transferring funds to terrorist organizations that were involved in October 7. And this is a fairly significant event because basically Mr. Zhao pled guilty to money laundering. He was prosecuted by the Biden administration. He had spent approximately 4 months in jail, and then President Trump pardons him. And President Trump acts as if he doesn't know who he is when he pardons him. The one thing that President Trump doesn't say is that last May, Binance participated in a $2 billion business deal with World Liberty Financial, which is the crypto company founded by the families of Trump and Witkoff. So there you have it.
Witkoff, the Russian negotiator?
That's right. That's right.
So this pardon links both the October 7th attack, and we have a government who is giving a blank check to Benjamin Netanyahu to, quote, defend itself. And Witkoff is tied to the crypto in this, and the Trump family is tied to the crypto of this guy, and that's why he got the pardon.
That's right. So this guy clearly, one thing that hasn't been said is this particular company, Binance, paid a $4 billion fine when it pled guilty. So these people have a ton of money. And so what can money buy you with the Trump administration? Obviously, as we see, it can buy you a pardon, because several months before in May, as we just discussed, this particular company, Binance, participated in a $2 billion business deal with the Trump family crypto company and Mr. Witkoff. So all of these things are somewhat interconnected. And then you see him pardoned. You now see a lawsuit filed against this individual and Binance saying that they funded the October 7th attacks and some of these terrorist organizations. So this story has a lot of antennas and goes a lot of different directions.
Okay, and an antenna I want to focus on right here with this is Witkoff. And y'all may remember in our news drops yesterday, it was revealed that Witkoff negotiated with Jared Kushner behind the State Department's back, basically a peace plan. And this peace plan was from the Kremlin. Witkoff has no foreign policy experience whatsoever. Jared Kushner has no security clearance. He is on the Saudis' payroll. So why do every time you shake and strip all this down, there is somehow a Putin connection with a lot of this stuff? And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Benjamin Netanyahu, war criminal who has a warrant out for his arrest, he wanted Hamas to stay in power so he himself could prevent going to trial and potentially getting incarcerated so that he could stay in power of Israel. So I don't think there's ever been a better time to be a white-collar criminal, not only in the United States, but on the global stage. And there's never been a better time to gaslight all of these people, and you see these dark forces connected behind all of these multi-billion-dollar nefarious companies that are shaking down everybody left and right.
The common thread here is money. And you look at how this has been normalized to the extent that in May you have Trump's crypto family business receiving $2 billion with this individual Witkoff. And several months later, you see Trump pardoning this individual, Mr. Zhao. And you think to yourself, we're not even talking about that. Back in the day, that would be unheard of. That a president, impeachable, that you would be completely taken out if you accepted that much money from a family and then 3 or 4 months later pardon that individual. We're talking billions of dollars.
And here's the thing about Trump that people need to realize. He's an equal opportunity grifter. He makes sure he rips off everybody. So from this situation here with this billions of dollars in crypto, he's going to shake down and hustle there to make sure he enriches himself personally to the tunes of billions of dollars. And if that's not enough, he wants to make sure that Ma and Pa in rural America are buying his Bibles, are buying his Trump trout, are buying his Christmas ornaments. This guy rips off everybody on the planet. In MAGA, he doesn't give a shit about you. He has no long-term thinking in anything other than how can I enrich myself and how can I get a quick win. Listener, I recently got Simply Safe as my security system. It is a total game changer because it is a real security system that actually stops crime before they start. And let me tell you how this works. So it's really proactive. They have live agents that actually confront a potential criminal while they are still outside. So it kind of goes like this. Somebody could be trying to break into your home, and Simply Safe can detect this person and then says, we have notified police, they are on their way, et cetera, et cetera. And so this deters people and they turn around and run the other way. Our listeners get exclusive early access to Simply Safe's Black Friday sale, where you can save 60% on any new system. This is our biggest deal of the year. There will never be a better time to get real security for your home. Go to simplysafe.com/IHIP. Again, that is simplysafe.com/IHIP. Moving along here, Charlie Sykes has some reporting on Kash Patel inside the MAGA administration. And he said, there is a dawning realization, even within the Trumpian swamp of grift, that Kash Patel is turning out to be a clueless, ethically tone-deaf cretin. And what I have to say about even within the Trumpian swamp, it takes 10 months to figure out that a 2-bit podcaster has no business being the head of the FBI. Every podcast he did was about the Jeffrey Epstein files. And as soon as he gets into the Death Star, the alleged swamp, he is helping to cover up this pedophile ring that his boss, Donald Trump, is cankles deep in it. And it's just amazing to me that this man thinks he can put these podcasters and these Fox News narcissists all in his cabinet to run the United States of America's federal government. And it takes 10 months to figure out their dipshits.
The level of incompetence is breathtaking, and it has denigrated all of these positions. This is the same position that James Comey held. I mean, whether you like him or dislike him, he's an intelligent, sharp person. It has denigrated the way that people think about the government or leaders in government. You've taken these positions that where people used to respect and have dignity and pride in, and you've completely destroyed the public perception of our leaders. And that's the sad part of it, especially for people that have kids like we do, that you want to grow up in a society where you respect and feel good about your leaders. It's disgusting.
And just on a personal note, Josh, if you'll share with our listener, you are a criminal defense attorney that's in federal court often, and you have relationships with really smart U.S. attorneys that care very much about the rule of law, and you're up against them. I mean, you have a case opposing them, and you yourself have seen people resigning left and right, really good, smart minds, because they can't be associated with the criminality and the double dealing of this DOJ. And tell us the impact that keeps you up at night, being an attorney that believed in this rule of law, watching these agencies get completely destroyed in an unethical manner.
You see, to be a U.S. attorney or to work for the Department of Justice has always been thought of to be a highly intellectual, very challenging, very rewarding job that only the brightest minds would want to work.
And they're not doing that to become uber wealthy.
That's exactly right. And they're all Ivy League educated or at really smart, good universities, and they make it a conscious decision to go to work for the government because they're cause oriented. They believe in the rule of law. And so you see that level of talent. They're all very smart, very sharp. It's very difficult to get a job, or used to be, with the Department of Justice or the U.S. Attorney's Office. You would see transplants from other parts of the country that would come to Oklahoma just simply because they wanted to work for the U.S. Attorney's Office or the Department of Justice. And what we see on the sidelines dealing with the U.S. Attorney's Office here and in other districts is the disappointment they have in what's taking place on a national basis, but also you see really qualified and smart attorneys that are leaving to go to the private sector because they just can't get behind what the Department of Justice is doing here. It's like it's devastating for them to see that this thing that they believed in has been denigrated to the extent that it's no longer the place that it was.
And you have this DOJ pardoning everybody from the January 6th insurrectionists, who many of which have been rearrested, lots for sexual abuse of children. And then you have these 2-bit con artist crypto people that enrich the president. And this is what the rule of law was there for, to call out. It didn't matter if you were rich. It didn't matter if you were powerful. It didn't matter if you were poor. And what has happened here is the Supreme Court gave the president of the United States immunity, and the Biden administration with Merrick Garland, that was the most important presidential appointment of all of our lifetime. And Merrick Garland failed this country. And if we ever get power again, we need to put the accelerator to the floorboard, because it's going to take decades to restore this 10 months of just utter destruction. All right, that's all we have for this episode. Thank you, Josh, for subbing for Pumps. She's on vacation with her children. Subscribe, like, give us a comment to feed the algorithm, and we'll be back later with more news.